Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so today's just going to be a real quick one, just a simple video, not complex. I had a lot of people asking me, how do you print the labels that you're using on your Pi cart, setups and the little Raspberry Pi cartridges, the NES shells. These could be used for reproduction carts, for you to reprint a label for, a damaged label on an NES cart, on a multi-cart, multi-carts. Like for example, this one, whoever printed this label's not waterproof essentially, so I got a smudge here. I don't like that. That drives me nuts. This cheap label. I'm gonna replace it. I'm gonna make a new one. But you could have, original games that you need to fix your labels, whatever the case may be. Reproductions you wanna fix up or reprint your labels, or you're making pie carts. And as you see, this is my printed label right here. This is very budget friendly in my eyes. To me, this label's pretty good. It's not bad. It's shiny, it's glossy. I could lick it and the ink's not gonna come off of it. I don't wanna do that on camera. I don't wanna get too crazy, but that bad boy's on there. Looking good. Pretty awesome stuff. So to start, let me just go over some of the items you're gonna need real quick. And this is budget friendly. You can go crazy with this. If you want decent looking labels, you're not trying to scam anyone, because you're not gonna scam anyone with these labels. I'm just letting you know. I mean, you can try, but that's not what I'm doing this video for. And I know there's a lot of controversy about that. And to be honest, the controversy's fine. Me personally, I don't care, because I'm not a collector. I'm not somebody that, if I were to buy a cartridge, I'm gonna be able to tell if it's a fake, and I understand that can, harm those who are not in the know. But if you're not in the know, are you gonna spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on a collectible? If you're, so just, that's all I wanted to say on that topic. I don't care. I'm showing how I do my labels for my pie carts, which could also be in return used to reprint reproduction labels. So first item that we are going to need is going to be our labels. And I use these, the ones right above my head right there. These Avery shipping labels. They're 8.5 by 11. I'm gonna post all the links in the description for all these items, because all these items you can get for cheaper on Amazon. It helps me out if you want to get into this. If not, it's cool too. I did not buy any of these items off of Amazon. I wish I would have waited and did, because the prices are a lot better than what I paid. For example, I believe this is, let me move my head out of the way. I can't even see, 25 sheets, right? So that's a 25 sheet pack that I got on the screen. These ones are pretty much identical. They just say that they could be used for laser or inkjet. These ones just say inkjet, but they can be used for laser as well. It's no big deal. This 10 pack versus this 25 pack, I paid the same price for this at Walmart that I would have paid for this one on Amazon. So I'm just pointing that out. So you're gonna need those labels, the full size labels. The next thing you are going to need is going to be your laminating sheets. Now the laminating sheets, you don't necessarily have to get the Scotch brand or name brand. There are generic brands out there. And I've used both. They don't, it doesn't really matter, as long as they can take an 8.5 by 11 paper. And these ones that I have listed are 8.5 by 11 pouches, which essentially the pouches are bigger than that to be able to hold the whole sheet in there. So these are fine. These are perfect. That's going to be the next thing you need. Then on top of that, you will need a laminator. This laminator right here you can get for around 20 bucks. $25, somewhere around there. It's going to be the same price on Amazon or at Walmart. I've noticed, I bought mine at Walmart and it was the same price on Amazon. It's just all the other stuff is cheaper on Amazon for some reason, but the laminator's the same price. So that's what you're going to need. $20 laminator. As long as it can, it can laminate. It's a thermal laminator. That's what we need. Thermal laminator. Next thing is optional. This is what I've been using. Is this paper trimmer, and I'll have it linked in the description. Just gives me some clean edges. I've done it both ways using this, and you'll spend $10, $15 for one of these. It's just nice. You can kind of line everything up and cut it, and boom, good to go. You got nice straight lines if you're not comfortable using scissors or an X-Acto blade. I've done it three ways. I've used this trimmer, I've used scissors, and I've used an X-Acto blade. This, I get cleaner edges as long as I can line up my labels properly and not get any white. You know, if I'm printing black labels and there's a white edge on it, you got to trim that off. So as long as I'm able to get these lined up, trimmed with the trimmer, it works out great. Works better than using scissors. If you have a steady hand and some nice scissors, you're using some, little child, kid scissors, you might not get a clean cut. But if you got a decent pair of scissors that are sharp and you got a steady hand and you can cut a straight line, that's all you need, is to be able to cut the straight line on all four, edges. Next thing, and I've seen other people mention how to do this, on a NES cartridge, the corners are going to be rounded on the label, on the tops and the bottoms. If you have a good steady hand, you could trim that with some scissors, or you can use some like infant nail clippers. That's what I've been using, and it seems to come out right. It's not going to come out perfect, but I've done it both ways, with the nail clippers and with the scissors. If I'm calm, cool, and collected, I can trim it just right and get that nice, perfect roundness with the pair of scissors. With the little toenail clippers, the baby clippers, you got to get it just right and make sure each edge you're only taking the same amount off of, because otherwise you'll get uneven edges. But I don't think we're necessarily looking for perfection, but the closer you can be to perfect, the better, and it's just going to look more awesome. This label to me is just awesome for a newbie label printer such as myself. But bam, I think this looks good. This, I'm going to be using the same process to relabel a bunch of my cartridges that I have. No evil intentions, so I don't really care for the hate. People don't like people showing how to relabel or print labels. They would find this information anyway if they have nefarious, motives behind this. My process, you're going to get a decent label. You're not going to get a perfect, exact Nintendo label. Anybody who has, information out there, you can find this stuff out there, how to make a label. It's not a secret. If you want to con somebody, you're going to con somebody. That's not what I'm about. What I'm about is making these pie carts, relabeling some of my stuff that looking a little crappy. That's where I'm at. So I don't want to hear it anymore. Don't want to rant, which I've ranted too much. But after these items that I got up on the screen, boom, 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 next thing you're going to need is a template. So let me go ahead and show you where you can find a template. Okay, so the template you're going to want to get that I use, there's other templates out there, but I'm going to show this one. This is John Riggs' template. Real awesome guy. He has a lot of cool stuff. Deals with reproduction carts and fixing up carts, taking a cart that's messed up, fixing it, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of awesome stuff. So I'm using his template. I've used a couple others, but his is more complete, has a lot of better options. So I'll put the link to download that and a link to his channel. Go peep him out. That'll all be in the description. But once you have this template downloaded, this is essentially what you'll have. I don't use Photoshop, but it is a Photoshop file. I do have the plugin for paint.net to use Photoshop files, so paint.net's free, and I didn't feel like cracking Photoshop. I don't really know how to use it as well, but paint.net works for me, so that's what I'm using. I'm not paying for a program. Paint.net is free, and the plugin to use Photoshop files is free as well. So this is what you'll get, the basic template. And on all your layers, he has the curves. You could turn that on or off. You could turn off the text that he has, or add, you can always add layers and do that, which is essentially what I did. You can select and change everything. He has, the Nintendo logo and all that stuff. He would only use the official stuff for, I guess fixing his own carts and whatnot. He wouldn't put that on a reproduction. I wouldn't put that on a reproduction either, but I'm not dealing with making reproductions. If I reprint a reproduction label, I'm not going to put the official seal on it or anything like that. It just kind of seems a little tacky. But hey, to each their own. It's for your own private use. Who cares? Do what you got to do. Then he does have this black box version, which is kind of like the original NES stuff, the original Nintendo releases. And then he does also have on here the Capcom stuff, from the Capcom releases with that awesome purple label. And then he does have the Konami type label as well. So you can use any of these if you so chose, or you could just edit one, make it your own, create your own, whatever you want to do. Simply, you would just make if you wanted to add an image to this background here, you would just plug in your image that you want and make sure it's in the background as far as the layers go. That way it's not over top of the this black bezel. And that's essentially it. That's, using this template, that's how I made this label that I'm using on my pie carts. It's really fun to mess with. I'm not an artist. I'm not, some crazy dude with all that stuff. It took me a matter of minutes to put this label together, print it out on those full sheet laminating, the full shipping sheets, putting them in the laminate sheets, laminating those bad boys, cutting them out, trimming the corners, boom. The one thing I want to note is I was using the 3mm laminator sheets, and that's what I'm going to link to. They do have 5mm, which is they're going to be thicker. I don't think you want to use the thicker ones. You want to use the 3mm. So that's what I'm using, and it works out great. Essentially, the other thing too, when you're doing this, is these Avery labels, they stick fine on the front. On the top right here, you might have an issue with it sticking unless you can get some tackiness on there first. Maybe a little rubber cement, but you got to let it dry a little bit. You don't want to put it on there and then just fold the label over. You could have success with just folding the label over and just pushing it on. That's fine. But I've been liking to put just real light either rubber cement and letting it kind of tack up a little bit, dry up a little bit, or a little bit of super glue, just microscopic little dabs on there, and then folding it over, like letting it dry, blow on the super glue for a second, couple little, and then fold it over, lay it on there, and it'll stick. Don't want to put too much glue on there. You might have success where the label just sticks, but I had a couple that stuck and were just fine. And then I had a couple that the label would come up a little while later on the top. So I started using a little tiny bit of super glue. Tested it with super glue and the rubber cement. I would recommend the super glue as long as you don't use too much. Rubber cement is just going to take longer to tack up and dry on there. And if you're not patient, I'm not a patient person, the super glue is going to bond quicker and, work out. So that's the end result, is this label right here. Bam. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A lot of people were asking, hey, how did you print those labels? And this is it. This is how I did it. Those are the items I used. Easy peasy. Some people might already have a laminator. You don't necessarily need the trimmer. You can use scissors. Some people might already have full sheet, labels. I don't know. You can buy those, a pack of them for, $10 or less. So, it's up to you if you just want to produce these for pie carts that you want to put out there or whatever. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Hope this has helped. Smash that like button. Boom, boom, boom. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Take a look at my previous videos. I got an awesome giveaway going on. Take a look at that video. I've got the pie cart build showing how I built these, and now I have, how I made the labels, so that kind of completes that. A lot of cool videos. Really appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Boom!